Welcome back to Studio Sydney Pilates and welcome to your 25-minute Pilates Glute Lift workout. Today we'll be targeting and isolating all three glute muscles, the glute max, glute medius, and glute minimus using just one dumbbell. I'm using a 10-pound dumbbell, but anything between 5 to 10 pounds will work. This is a functional strength conditioning workout, but I'll be using classic Pilates cues so that we maintain good form and stay controlled throughout in order to target the exact muscles we're looking to strengthen. Grab your mat and your dumbbell and let's get started. Starting today in a 4-point kneeling position, we're going to start with hip circles, or as we call it in Pilates, hip circumduction. And again, we're in 4-point kneeling. So wrists are underneath the shoulders and knees are underneath the hips to start. Back is flat, and we're gonna start with clockwise circles with the left leg. So keeping your left knee at 90 degrees, bringing the knee out away from the midline and around, keeping your pelvis really still in space. So this is much more of an oblique warm-up than it is a glute warm-up. You're using your obliques, your core, quite a bit to stabilize the pelvis and the spine as the femur, as the left thigh bone moves around within the pelvis. So that's what I want you to visualize here. Okay, so the base of your femur, of your thigh bone, is making circles within the pelvis as the actual pelvis stays still. And keeping your core on, let's do other direction. So same leg, and then drawing circles counterclockwise now. Again, maintaining that stability in the pelvis, so keeping your obliques on. Rooting down to the finger pads and the heels of the hands. Inhaling through the nose. Exhale through the mouth, keeping the back of the neck long, keeping back flat. 15 more seconds here. And again, we're gonna feel a lot more core than glute, but I still want you to lift that leg high enough to get a little bit of glute engagement. And again, keeping that knee at 90 degrees. Awesome work. Let's do everything on the other side. So we'll bring that left knee back underneath the left hip. And then right leg now, starting with those clockwise circles. Bracing through the core the whole time to find that stability. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Can we draw navel to spine here? So finding that deep core muscle, really warming up through the body, but mostly through the core here to find those stabilizer muscles through the torso. Last 10 seconds in this direction. And then same side, right knee stays at 90 degrees and we draw circles in the other direction for the last 30 seconds. You'll notice here, even though of course this is a lot of core work to stabilize, we're also getting a nice hip opener too, which is a nice warm up for the rest of this exercise today. So again, just imagining the thigh bone rotating within the pelvis, getting lots of mobility here. Last 10 seconds. Awesome, and continuing our warm-up, we're gonna bring the knees now as wide as the mat. Bring your toes together, and then we're gonna sit the hips back towards the heels, and then coming back up, wrists under shoulders and hips at 90 degrees. And again, we'll just rock back and forth here, coming back to 90 degrees at the hips, wrists under shoulders, and then sitting the hips back to the heels. And let's try to time this with the breath. So as we inhale, we come up, and as we exhale, we sit the hips down to the heels. And let's try to keep the back of the neck and the spine long so we're not flexing forward. Notice that we'll have a deeper hip opener if we keep the back flat. And then coming back up, knee stack back underneath hips. Knees back in line with the ankles. We're gonna get into our workout now, our strength conditioning. So grabbing onto that weight, again, I'm using a 10-pound weight, but you can use anything from 5 to 10 pounds. We're gonna pop that weight behind the right knee. So you're kind of gonna close the knee joint so that the weight stays still behind the knee. And again, wrists are gonna stay stacked underneath the shoulders here, rooting down into the finger pads and the heels of the hands. Back stays flat. Pelvis stays still, and we're gonna go right into our donkey kicks here. So we're opening up at the right hip joint to bring the sole of the foot up to the sky. So the foot is gonna stay flexed. So I want you to imagine As we open up through that right hip joint, we're like trying to make a footprint on the sky. So full extension through the hip joint as we squeeze through that right glute at the top. Inhale to lower, just tap the knee down onto the mat. Exhale, lift and squeeze at the top. A very common mistake with donkey kicks is that folks tend to arch their back in order to get their leg and their glute up in the air, but this isn't actually activating your glute, and then you're losing your core support. So I want you to try to keep your pelvis and spine really still and use your glute to lift the leg up. So don't just arch your back and sink your hips to the floor. Keep your hips high, keep the back flat, use your glute to open up at the hip. And from here, we're gonna keep the right leg up to the sky, bring your left hand behind your back, palm facing up, and then we're gonna find tiny pulses, just an inch down and an inch up, again, using your glute, keeping your pelvis neutral, spine neutral. Can we draw that left shoulder blade towards the spine? So opening up through the chest, especially on that left side. 15 more seconds here. Keep your core on. It's a lot of obliques here, especially without the help of that left arm. Lots of core to control and keep stability through the torso. We're almost there. Awesome work. Let's bring that right knee back underneath the right hip, left wrist back underneath the left shoulder. We're going to go into our fire hydrants now. So now, again, keeping the pelvis still and back flat, we're going to bring the right knee away from the midline. So right knee out to the right side, and then inhale to bring the right knee back underneath the right hip. So same idea in terms of core stabilization to keep the pelvis still, but in our fire hydrant, we're using a little bit more of the glute medius and glute minimus, the smaller outer glute muscles, as opposed to with the last exercise is glute max. But still imagining, like in our warm-up and like in our last exercise, the femur, the thigh bone is moving within the pelvis, and the pelvis itself stays really still. So visualize your pelvis staying really, really still in space here. You'll notice your obliques have to work extra hard with this one. This is a little bit more oblique work to maintain that stability while still getting range. And from here, keeping your right knee away from the midline, left hand comes onto the back again, and let's find those little pulses out to the side, up an inch, down an inch. Again, a lot more oblique work here to maintain stability through the spine and the pelvis. We've got it. Inhale through the nose, exhale, open up through that left pec and left shoulder, drawing your left elbow to the sky, left shoulder blade to the spine. Last 10 seconds, inhale through the nose, exhale, pulse up, we're almost there. Awesome work. We're gonna do everything on the other side now, yay! So you're gonna grab that weight, we'll bring it behind the left knee now, and we're gonna start again with our donkey kicks. So again, wrist stacked underneath the shoulders, lengthen through the spine, lengthen through the back of the neck, pelvis stays still. Let's go right into those donkey kicks. So again, foot stays flexed. We think sole of the foot to the sky as we engage our glute to lift. Inhale, lower, left knee comes underneath the hip just for a quick second, and then exhale, we lift and squeeze at the top. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift. And again, just reminding yourself that we're not extending the lower back at all to lift that leg high. We're keeping the back nice and flat, especially through the lower back. If you're finding you're arching a little bit through your lower back, I want you to think imprint, so tucking the tailbone under. Otherwise, we keep neutral pelvis. Again, just making sure that movement comes right from the glute max to lift. And from here, we'll bring that right hand behind the back and go into our little pulses here, drawing right shoulder blade to the spine, back of the neck stays long, lift an inch, lower an inch, really squeeze at that left glute when you lift. Foot stays flexed, we're almost there. Halfway there, 15 more seconds. Keep using your core here to stabilize. Inhale through the nose, exhale, draw navel to spine, connecting into your deep core muscle. Whew, awesome work. Bring your right wrist back underneath the right shoulder. And let's go into our fire hydrant. So again, inhale to prepare. Exhale, we bring that left knee away from the midline. So more glute medius and glute minimus here, and a bit more oblique work to stabilize. So just notice that here, your obliques turning on a bit more as we lift that left knee out to the side. A little bit more core work. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. If your wrists are starting to bother you here in this position, really try rooting down into the finger pads so you're not just dumping the weight into the heels of the hands, and try to press the floor away from you. So think like Spider-Man hands, like you're trying to bring your finger pads down onto the mat and then press the floor away from you. Last 10 seconds as we get fatigued. Just make sure we're keeping that pelvic stability. Okay, last set of pulses. Let's pulse that left leg up to the sky. Again, right hand on the back, palm facing up. As your body gets tired, slow down if you need to. We're doing 25 more seconds. Whether you do 20 more reps or 2 more reps, focus on your form. Okay, so shoulders away from the ears, navel to spine, and pelvis stable using your obliques. Keep breathing through it. Back and pelvis stays really, really still. We're almost there. Ooh, awesome work. Let's take that weight out to the side. We don't need it for the next block. We'll need it for the one after that though, so just place it beside your mat. We're gonna come onto our stomachs now in a prone position to work a little bit more through the glute maximus. So again, lying on your stomach, you can just have your elbows bent, hands stacked on top of each other, and you can just have your forehead resting on your hands. We're gonna tuck the tailbone under so you feel your pubic bone heavy on the mat, and then keeping the quads engaged, we're gonna open up at one hip joint, lifting that leg up to the sky, squeezing your glute to lift. Inhale to lower, and then exhale to lift the other leg. Again, we're using our glute maximus to open at the hip. I want to see a fully straight leg. So you're not bending at the knee at all. Our quads are engaged the entire time so that this movement comes right from the base of the pelvis. It comes right from the hip. A really common mistake I see is bending the knee, and then now we're not using the glute as much to lift the leg. So I want to see a really, really nice straight leg. Squeeze your quad the entire time, keep the toes pointed, and we're using again our glute max to lift that thigh off of the mat, opening up at that hip joint. Inhale to lower, leg to the floor. Exhale to lift the other leg, engaging through the glute, keeping both quads engaged. On each exhale, as you lift the leg, I want you to draw your ribs down and in. So connect into your core and those intercostal muscles so that the ribs aren't jetting into the mat. From here, we're gonna widen the legs out to the side so knees are as wide as the mat. Externally rotate right from the base of the pelvis, so toes out, heels in, and then we're gonna bend the knees, keep the feet flexed, heels come together, and then keeping your tailbone tucked under, pubic bone heavy. We lift both thighs off of the mat, opening up at both of the hip joints, squeezing your heels together, and again, we think soles of the feet to the sky as we lift thighs off of the mat. So really important here to keep the tailbone tucked under. So again, we're not just arching the back to lift the legs up, we're using our glutes to lift the legs up off of the floor. So keeping that little tuck in the tailbone, not quite neutral, a little bit more of a posterior tilt so that we're really engaging through the glutes here. Inhale to lower thighs down onto the floor. Exhale, engage the glutes to lift the thighs up off of the mat. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. If you're using your lower back at all and you're feeling this crunching or pain in your lower back, I need you to do a deeper pelvic tuck, really bring that pubic bone heavy on the mat and let your glutes do the work here. Inhale to lower, exhale to lift. We're almost there. Give me 15 more seconds. And then keeping the knees wide and feet together, let's sit the hips back to that shell stretch again, just taking a quick recovery. Awesome. Our final block of the day, we do need our weight for this one. We're going to do a shoulder bridge series. So lying on your back now, we're going to use that weight. We're going to place it right on the hips. So you can just have the ends of the weights kind of resting on your hip bones and just placing your hands at the ends of the weights, not to hold the weight up, but just to kind of guide it and make sure it stays in place. We're going to lie again on our backs, bring the heels in nice and close to the body so they're stacked under the knees, feet hip width distance, starting in neutral pelvis. Collarbone wide and shoulder blades heavy on the mat behind you, like flush with the mat. We're going to start in neutral pelvis with the tailbone heavy. And then on the exhale, you're going to lift your hips up in the air to a shoulder bridge, tucking your tailbone under at the top. So we come to neutral as we lower, tailbone heavy. And then as you lift, we engage the core and tuck the tailbone under, which is going to lengthen through the tops of the thighs and shorten through the back of the body so that we're really feeling those glutes and hamstrings as we tuck under. Again, inhale, we lower, tailbone heavy, neutral. Exhale, we lift, tuck the tailbone under, squeeze your glutes, lengthen through the thighs at the top. And the whole way through, we're keeping the collarbone wide, we're keeping the shoulders heavy behind us. Again, at the top, can we draw the ribs down and in, engage through the core as well? 30 more seconds here. And as we might be getting fatigued, just make sure we're doing that deep pelvic tilt so we're keeping it out of the low back. Bring your hips down. We're going to bring the left leg up to tabletop and then just slide the weight over to the right side. So it's sort of on an angle on the right hip and right heel stays underneath the right knee. We're going to root down into that right heel now to lift the hips. Inhale to lower, tailbone heavy. So same idea. We're in neutral when we lower, tailbone heavy on the mat. And then as we lift, we tuck the tailbone under, think posterior pelvic tilt or imprint, and engage through the core at the top. Inhale, lower, tailbone heavy. Exhale, we lift, tuck the tailbone under, draw the ribs down and in. We're here for 60 seconds as well. Can we keep that left leg in tabletop so the left shin stays parallel with the ceiling? And again, just making sure the shoulders stay heavy, collarbone stays wide. Core engages as we lift up into our shoulder bridge, lengthening through that right hip and thigh and squeezing, activating through your right glute and hamstring. And then everything on the other side. So again, we'll bring that weight now over to the left hip. Right leg comes up to tabletop and we'll go right into those shoulder bridges again. Inhale to lower, tailbone comes heavy down on the mat. Exhale to lift and tuck the tailbone under, lengthening through that left thigh and hip, squeezing your left glute at the top. Inhale to lower, neutral. Exhale to lift, tuck the tailbone under, engage through the core. And again, just making sure that that right shin stays parallel with the ceiling. And 30 more seconds here, making sure you're still rooting down into that left heel, lifting the hips all the way up. Can we get full range? We're almost done here. 20 more seconds, you've got this. And then bringing the weight back to the center of the hips, so the ends of the weights are on the hip bones. We're gonna walk the feet a bit closer to the body, so the heels are basically right at your glutes. And then we're gonna come into our high half toe, lifting the heels off of the mat, like you're wearing a pair of high heel shoes. And we're gonna go back into those shoulder bridge lifts. So inhale, lower, tailbone to the floor. Exhale to lift, tucking the tailbone under, squeezing the glutes at the top. The heels stay high the whole time. And I want you to try to root down equally into all 10 toes and the 4 balls of the feet, so that we're not supinating or pronating. So again, we're rooting down into the inner and outer balls of the feet equally as we lift. We're still drawing the ribs down and in at the top, engaging through the core, squeezing your glutes at the top, lengthening through the thighs at the top. We've got 20 more seconds. Inhale to lower, tailbone heavy. Exhale to lift, tailbone tucks under. And last exercise of the day, we're gonna do little pulses at the top. So keeping your high half toe. Inhale, lower the hips a couple inches. Exhale, lift the hips all the way up. Inhale, lower a couple inches. Exhale, lift a couple inches. Can you squeeze your glutes together at the top? Again, shoulders stay heavy, collarbone stays wide, and core engages at the top. Really tuck the tailbone under at the top still here. Let's get maximum glute engagement. So when you lift, tuck the tailbone, squeeze your glutes together. Last 25 seconds. Inhale, lower, exhale, lift and squeeze. We've got it for 20. Woo, good work, everyone. Let's bring the weight off to this side. We're gonna end off today with some nice hip opener stretches. So lying on your back still, we're gonna cross your left ankle over your right knee, making that figure 4 shape. Press into the inner left thigh, pressing that knee away from you. And then we're gonna do some pelvic tilts here. So coming to neutral, tailbone heavy, and then tucking the tailbone under, lower back to the mat. And as you tilt the pelvis back and forth, we're gonna feel that nice deep hip opener stretch. And when you're ready, we're gonna bring that right knee in the air, holding onto the back of the right thigh, and keeping that left knee away from the body, just taking a few deep breaths here. And again, when you're ready, crossing right ankle over left knee, opening up at that right hip, press the knee away from you. And then doing our pelvic tilts here, getting deep into our hip opener. Inhale, neutral. Exhale to tuck the tailbone under. And when you're ready, hugging that left knee into the body, keeping the right knee away from the body. We'll just take a few deep breaths. And then holding onto both knees, let's draw some circles with the knees, a few in each direction. Again, just opening up at the hips. And when you're ready, we'll come to seated to take a forward fold. Lengthening both legs out, flexing the feet, so toes to the sky, heels heavy. Sit up as tall as you can, reaching the hands to the sky, and then fold forward, holding on to the toes, the shins, the knees, wherever your hands land, taking a couple breaths, and then restack the spine all the way up. Thank you so much for taking my class today. If you have any suggestions for the next workout, let me know, and I will see you next time. Thank you.